Welcome YouTube. The video you're about to see is a reaction video. It is a video of opinion. Nothing personal is meant toward the individuals in the videos. My volition for posting these reaction videos is to look at these videos and critique them through the lens of correct sentence structure, communication, parse, syntax, grammar. Usually they are quantum grammar related videos, and I'm looking for correct sentence structure knowledge here. And I'm also looking at the claims made in the videos through the lens of correct sentence structure, communication, parse, syntax, grammar. Now you may notice that I'm doing certain things with my hands. I am not making any secret hand signs or gestures. When one is doing public speaking, there's only so many things you can do with your hands. You can fold them, maybe put them on your hips, dangling lifelessly at your sides, put them in your pockets, hold them like this, whatever it is. I'm not making any type of signaling gestures, unless I do this, which means shaka. Keep in mind, the information, the things that I'm sharing in this video are for educational purposes only, entertainment purposes only, nothing personal towards the individuals in the videos themselves. Thanks, and enjoy. This is a special CORAL-BLADE-GROTTO broadcast 8 reaction video. This has actually nothing to do with correct sentence structure, communication, parse, syntax, grammar. I'm doing this video based upon my interactions with the guy you see above me right there, Jason Breshears. Now, I've been following this guy for over a year, watching some of his videos and looking at what he claims and things like that. I will say this about this guy. I definitely have honor and respect for him for the sheer amount of work that he has apparently put into this. This is really amazing for one individual to be able to do all of this. It almost defies credulity. But I digress. And there is a lot of material here. So the reason I'm doing this quote-unquote reaction video is because the other night I was watching this video. Now I will say this. I've watched over 2/3 of this video. I still don't know. I still have not learned what others are afraid to know. I'm still waiting for that one. But in any case, I was watching the beginning of the video and listening to, it's a pretty neat little presentation. I'll show you a little bit of it. It's very well put together, and it's hilarious. And I was with him the whole way, basically describing his channel, what it is he's doing, and saying things, to paraphrase, saying things like, a lot of people claim things without evidence. Well, this Jason Breshears guy, he has the evidence, and he can prove his claims and back it up with evidence and blah, blah, blah. Well, when I started, after the intro, and I started listening to what Breshears was saying, he started talking about things like hidden benefactors and making claims like that. Like he's sure there are hidden benefactors from his experience and blah, blah, blah. So right away I'm thinking, wait a minute. He claims that he has evidence and he can back everything up he says with proof. But yet he just said hidden benefactors. How are you going to prove or certify that claim? And then he goes into talking about how we are being tricked, that the controllers, or supposedly the people that are in control, the entities, whatever they are, that are in control need our consent in order to do whatever it is they're doing. So if they're going to poison us or bomb us or rip us off, they need our consent to do that. Well, that doesn't add up logically. Because yes, contract is by consent. 100%. Across the board. If there's trickery involved, it's no contract. So if there's some sort of universal or cosmological law that states you need someone's consent in order to screw them over, that's complete and utter BS. Complete and utter BS. Because trickery is trickery. Okay? If the system needs to trick you into doing something because if they don't get your consent and they try and do what they're doing, then they're somehow going to be punished? How? If there is some sort of all-powerful shot caller up there, you know, referee or whatever, someone that's watching over this, and they're watching what's going on, and they see the elite over here, and they see us, the peons, over here, and they're looking at the elite, and the elite's like, hey, let's develop this certain medical thing, and let's make everybody think that they have to take it, that it's mandated, and to keep them safe. And then after they take it, then in 10 years, 2/3 of the population will be gone, so to speak, gone, right? You get my meaning? But they have to trick them. So the all-powerful being is watching this, and he sees, now all of a sudden, these people are forcing these people to get this medical procedure, and then the all-powerful being says, whoa, 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 they didn't consent to that. You can't do that. And then the all-powerful being stops the elite from doing that. But if the elite trick the population, and the elite say, well, you need this for health reasons, and then the all-powerful being is watching, and the all-powerful being says, oh, okay, well, they consented. Even though it's trickery, even though they're screwing them over and lying and cheating and blah, 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 it's okay because they consented to being that, to participating with that. That's okay. Continue to cheat and kill and whatever. Go ahead, elite. You're good. That's the type of idea that Breshears is talking about. And that doesn't make any sense to me. And I will show you the comment that I left on this video, which he has since deleted. I said, unseen benefactors, yet he speaks of proving facts. Volition is key. Trickery is not consent. Facts are facts and are proven by a continuance of evidence. Once one starts participating with unprovable concepts, i.e. unseen benefactors, Jesus, God, Satan, aliens, ghosts, etc., etc., then the psyop has succeeded. Truth can be subjective. Facts are not. Truth can be subjective. Facts are not. And then he actually responds to me and says, don't like my material, get lost. Then I said, I like your material, never said I didn't. You don't like being critiqued, I see. Interesting. Nowhere in that comment did I ever say I don't like his material. I just called into question a contradiction I found in what he was saying and what he's actually doing. And obviously, he's a little bit sensitive about that and would just as soon not answer questions, not address these concerns or whatever, and just move on. And frankly, the guy has enough viewers. He has enough subscribers, way more than I do. I mean, way more than I do. He doesn't. I'm like nothing. I'm like a plankton to him in the ocean, probably. I mean, it makes no difference. Even this video right here that I'm making probably makes no difference to him. Although he did respond to me when I made a video asking my viewers if they would like to see me do this video. If my viewers would like to see me do a reaction video to the ARCHAIX channel. Which right here you can see. He actually came onto my channel and commented and said, do it, I'm ready. And then I said, oh, have you decided to forego rudeness and exercise etiquette? Excellent. I will tag you when I publish. And I will tag him when I publish this video. Oh, by the way, folks, his, I don't know, followers started responding to me in that comments field before the comment was deleted, I'm going to share with you one of the few comments that were posted in response to me. Not posted by him, but by his followers. There were several comments like this. Someone coming in and just going crazy, right? Just to give you an idea of what these people are like. His followers. I noticed two things about your comment that you may not see as a result of subjectivity. The phraseology of speaking in the third person in conjunction with saying he claims XYZ, yet he speaks of proving facts, is clearly condescending. No, it clearly is not. It's clearly condescending by your perception because perhaps you deem any type of criticism, like most, dare I say it, cult followers do, they deem any type of criticism of their hero, of their big kahuna, as an attack. They view it as an attack, so they in turn go on the defensive and attack who they perceive to be the attacker, which I am not attacking anything. I offered a simple critique in pointing out a dichotomy. Nothing rude about it, nothing condescending about it. If you're coloring what I said with condescension, then I feel in my opinion that's you're projecting. You're projecting things onto me that aren't there. The condescension is made very clear by the specific use of the word yet, because the antagonistic use unequivocally and unambiguously is accusing in the third person of contradiction, meaning you're obviously calling someone a hypocrite. No, actually, I didn't call anyone a hypocrite. If I was to call him a hypocrite, I would actually call him a hypocrite. I don't know about you, whoever you are, but I'm pretty straightforward about things. So I ask that you don't presume and assume what it is that I'm actually saying, because I'm actually saying what I'm actually saying. There are no implications. As I said, you seem to be coloring things with your own projections. Now, I use the word yet to show the dichotomy, to show the contradiction. Now, Breshears could have answered that comment by saying, yeah, you're right. I'm seeing benefactors. That's one thing that I can't really prove. You kind of had to take my word for it or not. Whatever. I don't care. But this other stuff, I can prove. So, maybe I misworded it or something. Unseen benefactors is not something I can prove. If he'd have said something like that, no harm done. Who cares? Right? It's called humility, folks. And I don't see any of it here. Not in Breshears' followers, and definitely not in Breshears himself. So let's get into the video. And hopefully, even though he said he's ready, and he seemed to be okay with me doing this, hopefully he won't do what Rachel Dara Prince and Russell J. Gould did, and they won't try and give me a strike because I'm watching some of their video. Once upon a time, only one timeline existed. Where's the proof? What proof do we have of that? There is no hard evidence, no first-hand knowledge that can be shared that proves something like that. Now, Breshears might say, well, I have a library of books, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of books that prove this or that or the third. It doesn't prove anything. It just proves that someone wrote something down in a book maybe hundreds of years ago, maybe thousands of years ago, maybe a couple weeks ago. So what? That is not proof. That is what we would call circumstantial evidence that can lead towards possibilities or probabilities, but it doesn't make a fact. So this claim right here cannot possibly be proven as a fact beyond a shadow of a doubt by any means that I'm aware of. This is all conjecture, folks. All conjecture. All of it. I'm not speaking out against it or for it or against it or anything. I'm just saying what it is. It's conjecture. It's opinion.
I wasn't so sure about this ARCHAIX thing, but AIX is certainly worth looking into.
I'm most impressed that Jason is not going to tell you something. He's going to show you.
RKX shows us if you record enough facts, the answers just stare you in the face.
Record enough facts. What facts are those? And I would like to know what Jason Breshears' checklist for certifying what a fact is. I'd like to see that checklist. Does he have a checklist that can certify that this cup is a fact? Like, how many boxes does this check? Now, on the other hand, how many boxes does his claim check that says that there are multiple timelines? Does it check the same amount of boxes as this one? Does it follow the same criteria? Because if it doesn't, then what he's claiming is not a fact in the same way that this cup is a fact. And a fact is a fact. You can't have a 90% fact, right? Just like you can't have a 90% pregnancy or 90% dead. You either are or you aren't. And so I think that is an issue that my tutor Raven and I have discussed many, many times, is that folks just don't have closure on what a fact is. And that I'm sort of seeing clues that that might be the case here.
A man who knows the facts is unafraid to joust with contrary opinions.
That is a lie, as Maury would say. I just showed you that in my comment. So is that implying that he is afraid to confront these contradictions? Apparently, because look what he put in his own video, implying that he's not afraid to joust. But yet he dismisses the one little contradiction that I pointed out.
That's Jason.
I can't have that dude on my show. You know how many guys I've had on here who are running from that dude? Be a mess.
Jason says being wrong gets us closer to being right.
If he really practiced what he preached in that context, then he wouldn't have behaved the way that he behaved towards my little old comment. All right, so now you know what he's trying to convey here. He's trying to glaze himself, basically, at the beginning of this video. Glaze himself up, make himself look good, which is fine. I mean, until I had this interaction with him, I didn't think twice about this. I thought this was funny. But now, in light of what has happened, I still find it funny, just in a different way. So let's move forward and see what he actually says.
There's a lot of things Jesus said that came straight out of Buddhist texts, and I've taken a lot of flack from people who don't want to hear that in the 1st century A.D., when Christianity was supposed to have been basically born from a Jesus who had 12 disciples that began to spread all these things, and Paul, and people just don't want to hear that academia, they're not wrong. Buddhism was rife all throughout Israel in the 1st century. The Emperor Osaka in India had sent out 30,000 missionaries, Buddhist missionaries, and over 150-year period, they had spread it everywhere. And Antioch, which is said to be the birthplace of Christianity, Antioch, according to all the historians of the time, was the center of the Buddhic faith. The calendar that the Roman Catholic Church had to do away with in order to create the very calendar that you're recognizing now, the Anno Domini calendar, the AD calendar, it was called the Buddhic system. So anyway, yeah, a lot of people want to refer back to the Roman Julian calendar as being the initial calendar, but that's not what the Roman Catholic records say.
Okay, so just to stop here and address what he's talking about here, this is based upon historical data, meaning historical, meaning his story, right? Can't really certify it as a fact, but you can certify it as a probability, meaning that if you go back and research the texts as he claims to have done during his many, many, many years in prison, which is commendable that someone would utilize that time in such a positive manner and amass such a collection of knowledge. You can certify the probability of these things through historical texts. So you cross-reference, you look at these ancient texts and find out the records and the stories and the locations and the time periods given. And if you find a story in this text from this culture, and then you find a similar story from another culture around the same time, but way over here, and then another one over here, that's how you can certify the probability that something happened. Doesn't mean that it actually happened. Just means that history is written by the winners, and usually back then, from my understanding, usually back then, written by the most educated individuals who just happened to be the priest class, who just happened to be the rulers, and or they had access and control over the rulers. So again, winners write history. So when folks like Jason Breshears or even Jay Dyer or fellows like that talk about history, it seems like what is it called, the cognitive bias, I guess, where if something fits your narrative, then you're more likely to say, well, this is the evidence of that, and then show, well, that comes from this book and that text and this manuscript and that cuneiform tablet. But if it doesn't fit your narrative, if it doesn't fit your bias, then you're more likely to say, those texts were corrupted, they were modified, someone changed them, they lied about it. Kind of like when I grew up, in the textbooks in my elementary school, how Thanksgiving was portrayed in those elementary school textbooks. How the settlers came over and met with the natives, and they sat down at picnic tables and ate corn, and they became very good friends, and everything was hunky-dory, and it was peaceful, and it was 2 thumbs up. That's how they portrayed Thanksgiving and how the settlers came to North America. It's kind of like that.
Yes, I've been telling you that I'm going to anger a lot of other people in the community. People have put out absolute disinformation, real shoddy research, total garbage material that they're promoting as fact. I call it out, and there's a whole lot more I could call out. I'm just not going to waste my energy. I can't attack the whole world, but damn near the majority of the material I find a lot of mistakes in it. I find things that are easily correctable. And the only time I'm really aggressive in my call-outs is when the accurate information has been available for a while. Why? Because I freely give it to the public in data sets. So when that data is not dealt with and it is absorbed by some of these people I'm seeing put all this information out, I realize what's going on. There's no longer Jason playing Mr. Nice Guy. There's no more me just trying to educate you. Now,
if Jason plays Mr. Nice Guy, I guess my little comment, I guess that, I don't know, is that Jason Mr. Nice Guy? I don't know what that is. But I do want to say that, again, I do honor the guy's research capacity, the work he's put in, the stuff that he has available for free on his website. It's almost too good to be true how much material is available on his website to read that he just gives out. It's really amazing. It's really astoundingly amazing. I don't know how many other adjectives I can use to describe how much information he's actually put out there. For a one-man show, that's just staggering.
I'm calling you out for the shill you are, and I will continue that behavior because in 2024 it is too late to be polite. I made personal vows years ago when I was in prison, when I knew the value of the education I was receiving, when I realized that I had been put in prison to do this, and I had all this research, and I didn't know what to do with it at the time. I remember very distinctly in my late 30s, I remember talking to God in my cell and saying, hey, man, you know what? I don't know where all this is going. I used to cuss God out. I stubbed my toe, I cussed God. I said, man, why you put that brick there? Well, how did that get there? I don't understand. Out of all the architectural dynamics here, what is that doing there? And I, break my toes against it. So I've always had this relationship with God where I was just up front. And yeah,
Again, just throwing this out there. On the checklist of facts for Jason Breshears, where does God fall in relationship to a cup or to a marker or a piece of paper? Because facts have to be rule one, rule equal across the board. Check all the boxes. And if it doesn't, then it cannot be certified as a fact. So that's what I'm getting at. You can, have a relationship with God. That is your thing. That's nothing to do with me or anybody else or him if you have that. Okay. Growing up, some of my children had personal relationships with imaginary friends. With most relationships, they moved on to something else. Some folks don't, and that's a personal choice. Okay? What I'm saying here is that God, as I've stated many times in the past, cannot logically or reasonably be certified as a fact in the context of what I do: correct sentence structure, communication, parsing, syntax, grammar, which is a mathematical interface on grammar, created by the late DAVID-WYNN Miller and brought to the public in 1988. Facts need to be certifiable. They need to be provable, confirmable, validated. Okay? Facts. God is not one of them that I've found that I can certify with someone else or other contract parties in a contract. It's just not possible, in the same way that you can certify what a phone is, or what love is, or the wind is. You can certify these things by using your senses directly through first-hand knowledge in your port of sensation. Things like this that he's talking about cannot be. However, this is his personal experience. So I'm not judging anybody on their personal experience. I'm giving context, being that this is a correct sentence structure, communication, parsing, syntax, grammar channel, and I'm bringing it into that context to show you my position.
I would be very disrespectful sometimes because I feel like I had been given the shitty end of the stick. I had talked to God, and I had basically made a deal. I said, you know what, man, my life is already over. I just don't care. I've already been put in prison for something absolutely stupid, a carjacking gone wrong, and another idiot that was with me who took it to another level.
Well, for one thing, he is registered in the state of Texas as a sex offender. With a moderate risk level, he has to register annually. His offense was aggravated sexual assault of a 19-year-old female in 1991. 30-year parole, mandatory supervision. So being that I couldn't really find any information readily or easily about the case, I'm not going to really comment on why he's a sex offender. I'm just showing you what's in the system. That he is a registered sex offender, and he does have to register every year for that. For something he did in 1991, which he basically describes as a carjacking gone wrong.
Been put in prison for something absolutely stupid, a carjacking.
Put in prison for something absolutely stupid. A carjacking gone wrong,
and another idiot that was with me who took it to another level.
and an idiot that was with him that took it to another level. Let's think about those words, folks. The way he just described that. A carjacking gone wrong. Folks, how does a carjacking go right? Does a carjacking go right when you succeed and don't get caught? Is that what he's talking about here? What is he talking about? A carjacking gone wrong. I'm not sure how that can go right unless you're thinking about it from a criminal perspective. And then he's talking about an idiot that was with him that took it to another level. He just said he's in prison for doing something stupid. All right? And you just saw that he's a registered sex offender. So, again, I don't have the story on what happened there. But there was an idiot with him, and the carjacking went wrong. A sexual assault occurred. Now, you'd have to look that up into Black's Law's dictionary to find out what can fall in the legal system, what can fall under sexual assault or classified as such. He got charged with sexual assault. I don't know what his idiot accomplice got charged with or how that figured into it. There was a 19-year-old female involved. Okay? So he got thrown into jail for something stupid. What does he mean by stupid? Does he mean stupid as in he was stupid for doing what he did? Or is he referring to the legal term sexual assault as being stupid? As the reason that he's there in prison is because that's stupid? I'm just trying to wrap my head around the terminology he's using. Especially the carjacking gone wrong, because I'm not sure how a carjacking can go right unless you don't get caught. In which case he wouldn't have spent 27 years in prison and he wouldn't have all this research under his belt. I'm definitely supportive of success stories of people who have admitted via humility that they did something stupid or they did something wrong and they want to correct it. They're sorry for it. They're remorseful for it. They want to make things right again. It doesn't sound like that's the case here. It just sounds like he was involved in a carjacking gone wrong with an idiot and got thrown into jail for something stupid. And he registers as a sex offender every year.
Interestingly, when an eclipse occurs, in astronomy, it's called an occult of the sun. It's a hiding of the sun. Now, the eclipse is actually the signal between the two horsemen. The first seal
Okay.
is...
I don't really need to go any further. What he said at the beginning, that he can provide evidence for his claims and blah, blah, blah. And he's referring to the Bible as evidence in this particular context. The Bible. Now, you all know my position on the Bible and those sorts of texts. And monotheism in general is the single most successful psychological operation control mechanism ever implemented upon mankind. If you can get mankind to believe in something that they can't prove beyond a shadow of a doubt, if you can get them to participate with assumption, presumption, and then actually react to it or treat it as if it is a fact, basically putting a square peg in a round hole, you can get them to do anything. You can get them to commit atrocities. How do you train young men and women in the military to go to a foreign land and kill people? Well, God and country. Never mind that commandment in the Bible that says thou shalt not kill. It's just a whole bunch of contradictions. So this is basically how I felt about this guy's channel from the get-go. It's mostly conjecture. 99% conjecture. 95 to 99% conjecture. 95 being generous. He considers written history as evidence for what he's saying, which none of it can be proven other than someone wrote something down in a book somewhere sometime in the past. And so that's his basis for what he's saying, for his thesis, for his theory, which is a theory, just like evolution is a theory, right? It's not a fact, hasn't been proven, it's a theory. That's why it's called a theory. So I think the issue here is the word facts. What is a fact and what is not a fact? I think it would be a good idea to clarify what a fact is. I myself did a whole ass video on what a fact is a couple years ago to give closure on what I consider to be a fact. It's very stringent, it's very straightforward, it's very strict. There is no wiggle room for facts. It's either a fact or it's not a fact. And most of the time, facts may only be proven by first-hand knowledge, not by mathematical calculations or assumptions or telescopes looking out into whatever. I mean, you can certify what you sense and what you see as a fact. Like, for example, the eclipse. He's talking about the eclipse. My wife and I went to see the eclipse in Willowick, Ohio. I can certify that the sun, the thing we call the sun, the disk in the sky, which is bright, gives light, and also apparently gives heat, and I know this, and can certify it to you and anyone else. If you're standing next to me and the sun is out, we feel the heat on our faces. If we turn around, we feel the heat on the backs of our heads. If we go inside, we don't feel the heat anymore. If it's cloudy out or a cloud passes over, we don't feel the heat anymore. The localized heat, you could say. So I'm just saying that because I know people like to argue stuff to death. The sun, to me, looking at it, is a disk, a bright disk in the sky. Now, whether it is three-dimensional or round, I have no idea. I just know that it's round, and it's disc-shaped, and it's in the sky. And then during the eclipse, another apparently round object passed over top of it, like this. Now, what that object was, I can't say for sure. Some people say it was the moon. I don't know. I have no way of knowing that, because what I'm used to seeing as the moon in the sky, I didn't see that. I just saw a dark, disc-shaped object about the same size as the sun. The same size or about the same size. That's what I can certify. And I can also certify that it was quite an amazing experience. There's just nothing quite like it. It was pretty awesome. And words are very hard to find when describing something like that. But one thing I can say for sure about this video is I never learned what others were afraid to know. No idea what that means. It's a great title to give viewers, though, I suppose. And again, like I said, I'm sure this isn't going to make any difference to this guy whatsoever. But in my personal, humble perception, judging by the way he has treated me in our small little interactions, I don't think that his view of what a fact is the same as my view of what a fact is. And so therefore, you know, I've been watching his channel for over a year. As I said, I was a fan of his work. Was really interested to see where he was going with it, but that interest is no longer there. Based upon, number one, practicality. What he says really doesn't affect me one way or the other. If what he says would actually come to pass, it doesn't affect me one way or the other. If it doesn't come to pass, it doesn't affect me one way or the other. Kudos to him for building this business model, whatever it is, and giving all that massive quantity of paperwork and text to people for free. Good for him. I appreciate that. Again, that is like, I have never ever in life seen any one person put out the amount of work that he has put out and done the amount of things that he has done in the amount of time that he's done them. Usually that would take a team of people, an organized, directed effort by a team or a group of people. Usually that's how stuff like this would be put out. But in this case, it's just him. It's just Jason Breshears. So, hats off to him for this. I mean, great work. I wish him the best, whatever he's doing. And that's my reaction video to it. And I hope you enjoyed it. And I hope, well, we'll see. I hope after seeing this, he doesn't decide to try and put a strike on my channel and get the video taken down. But never fear, never fear. If that happens, I'll pop the video up in other places so that you can watch it. So I guess to sum it up, I was open to Jason Breshears being, so as I said in my other video, a real person, like for real, like he means what he says and things like that. But now I'm not. I'm not at all. Based upon, number one, the way he's interacted with me on a small little level in the comments field. Number two, after putting, a closer scrutiny and magnifying glass on exactly what it is he's saying, and especially the way that he described the reason why he did 27 years in prison, sort of like a dismissive thing, really has changed and updated my perception of who he is, or who I perceive him to be. Definitely different now that I've actually looked into his history and also looked closer at the words he chooses to use. Peace. If you would like to learn correct sentence structure, communication, parse, syntax, grammar, I offer several choices. The first one, and the easiest one, is to study the almost 900 free public videos on this YouTube channel that you're watching right now. The second option, if you want to see new content, is to click the join button on my main YouTube page or under any video that you're watching. Click the join button and you will see 2 tiers of membership. If you choose the second tier, the Loyalist Contributor tier, and you join that for a monthly support donation, you'll get new content, fresh content, exclusive content not available to the public every month. But keep in mind, there's already almost 900 videos here free to the public to study. And the third option is to contact me at the email address at the bottom of your screen, and this is for the serious students only, and apply for a correct grammar workshop. But please include your correct name when contacting me, and I'll set up a 10 to 15 minute video consultation, and you and I will have a conversation. You can ask me whatever you want. I'll answer your questions. I'll do the same with you. I'll ask you questions, and we'll see if indeed you are really serious or not. Thank you.